Kinji Ninami is hell-bent on becoming a wealthy NEET, and by investing in a real estate empire, he achieves his goal without ever having to work. He is abruptly transported to the world of Emuria, which is populated by demi-humans. The age of heroes is over, and the dungeons they once explored are now mined for the ore demonite by modern corporations. Kinji is forced to work as a miner, but he quickly becomes indebted. He befriends Wenaipe, a demi-human crocodile, and volunteers to explore the dungeon's deeper levels, where monsters are more dangerous but demonite is abundant. He tells Wenaipe that he found a hidden entrance to the third level. They are attacked by Rim, a dragon girl. Kinji, on the other hand, makes a deal with her, promising to feed them better food if she guards them while they dig. They begin to make huge profits, but Kinji becomes despondent as his money is diverted to feeding Rim and his debts grow. Kinji discovers a dead hero's magician's staff and uses it to hypnotize other miners into mining for him. The staff eventually breaks, the miners awaken, and Kinji receives a harsh punishment. She threatens to eat Kinji because she does not have enough money to feed Rim. Kinji and Wenaipe are assigned to a high-risk exploration group. As a result of Wenaipe's injury, Kinji is forced to do his fair share of the work while also seeing his pay reduced. He is now out of money and must continue to feed Rim. A swarm of monster ants overruns the mine, and Kinji uses a transformation potion to turn himself, an elite warrior, and an equipment manager into ants in order to survive. But they become trapped when the mine is sealed by their boss. Kinji discovers that he can understand the ants' language while transformed, and he introduces the concept of workers' rights to the worker ants, forming a union to pressure the Ant Queen to improve their treatment. After Rim vanished and stopped eating her workers, the Ant Queen decided to expand her colony into the mine. Kinji confronts the queen with the demands of her workers, but she chooses to simply kill and replace them. When Rim appears, she is starving, so Kinji feeds her his dinner. Kinji's ability to control Rim, who has preyed on her colony for years, has impressed the queen. Wenaipe returns to work, and Kinji reveals that he plans to take over the Reza Mining Corporation with Rim, the Ant Queen, and her colony, and form his own Dungeon Black Company. Shia, a Reza Corporation modern hero, discovers a philosopher's stone in a dungeon and is asked to join Exploration Group 3. A corporate training center is located on an island. To increase loyalty to Reza, Kinji and Wenaipe are subjected to torturous physical exercise, psychological abuse, and magical brainwashing. Wenaipe is awakened by Kinji after being brainwashed, and reveals that he was fully aware of the brainwashing the entire time, and that he used mind-altering plants to resist and plot vengeance. They set off fire spells by drugging the brainwashing sorcerers with mind-altering plants, exploding the island, the training center, and all of the instructors. The corporation sends Kinji and Wenaipe to Group 3, where Shia becomes their supervisor, believing they have been successfully brainwashed. Kinji attempts to expose Reza's exploitation, but Shia, who is completely devoted to her, forces him to accompany her into the dungeon to fight monsters. Shia summons Rim to protect Kinji when he tries to kill Ante, Kinji's favorite ant. When Shia is apprehended, Kinji makes her pose for photos that will incriminate her as a friend of Rim and the Ant Queen. Kinji blackmails Shia into secretly working for his Dungeon Black Company using the photographs. Kinji is given a month to repay 5 million gold. As a result of Shia's demonstration that monster parts can be valuable, Kinji devises a strategy. Belza, Reza's director, reveals that the Death March is approaching and that all demonite and monsters will regenerate, resulting in massive profits. Kinji pays the 5 million and builds a farm to harvest monster parts without killing them. Death is revealed by Belza. The resurrection of Imagine is part of March, but it necessitates the sacrifice of a hero like Shia. Imagine attacks Shia, so Kinji throws a magical crystal at it, teleporting Imagine to the surface, where the mine is destroyed. Kinji has the ants set traps as Imagine tunnels back into the dungeon. Shia insists on fighting, and Kinji chastises her for putting herself in danger in order to avoid her father's reputation as the king of failed adventures. Recognizing that he is correct and that she does not need to outdo her father, she decides to live for herself and kills Imagine while also destroying her sword. Imagine awakens and attempts to eat Kinji, but Rim detects this and saves Kinji before devouring Imagine. Imagine's resurrection, according to Rim, was unnatural. Kinji and Rim fall into a teleportation circle that he recognizes as the one that summoned him from Japan. Ranga, the cross-dressing male priestess who summoned Kinji, greets him when he awakens, and Zazel, the fanatical leader of an underground human village living in a city built by the advanced Colonian civilization thousands of years ago. Zazel reveals that an evil corporation took over the world 300 years ago and threatens Kinji to defeat them. Kinji realizes he is 300 years in the future in Amuria, and the evil corporation is Reza. When Kinji arrives at a castle, he discovers that it belongs to Demon Lord Belza's deputy, General Ant, who Kinji recognizes as his old friend Aunt A, who has evolved into a powerful monster and is overjoyed to see Kinji. General Ant is revealed to treat humans fairly rather than exploiting them. All they ask is that they work 40 hours per week and provide vacation and health insurance. The issue is that future humans are excessively lazy and believe 40 hours of work is excessive. Belza has not led the company in years, and General Ant is at a loss for what to do. After deciding to assist Kinji, General Ninomiya takes command and punishes slackers while rewarding hard workers, restoring the company's profitability and taking control of the underground city, replacing Zazel as leader and forcing the citizens to return to work. Kinji is seen as a threat by Generals Ru Jin, Power Ash, and Zetch Hauler. Kinji is duped by Power into a worm monster ambush, which is foiled when Rim defeats the worms. Ru assigns Kinji the task of converting difficult wasteland into farms, but Kinji has the worms easily cultivate the land. Zetch discovers a secret about Ranga and tries to blackmail her, but despite the fact that she is biologically male, he is overcome with lust. The three decide to entrust Kinji with a mission that is truly impossible. Ranga awakens in a version of Alice in Wonderland where the queen owns white rabbits and unemployed moles live in internet cafes. When Queen Belza arrives, she reveals Ranga's secret. She is a descendant of Belza, and she offers Ranga a carefree life with her. Ranga is awakened by a headbutt from a Kinji white rabbit who tries to persuade him to agree. The general sent them on a mission to stop a robot from hypnotizing Ranga, which Rim has now destroyed. Kinji reassures Ranga that having her own goals separate from Belza is a good thing. Kinji is invited to meet the Demon Lord after defeating the robot, who surprises Kinji by asking him to save the world. The resurrected Majin, Rim's twin sister, is the Demon Lord. She explains that the Colonian civilization created dungeons and guardians such as Rim to control the flow of magic across the planet. Rim, on the other hand, met Kinji and left her dungeon. Reza was able to mine all the way to the bottom and use the Colonian city's advanced technology to conquer the world. Majin defeated Reza and became Demon Lord for a time, but Reza has since returned to defeat Majin and turn the planet into a dystopia devoid of biological life. They turned their corporate slaves into robots. As a result, she gives Kinji the option of returning to Japan or traveling back in time to stop Reza in the past. Kinji chooses to travel back in time, where Belza fines him 10 million gold for going missing for a month as a Reza employee. Compel him, Rim, Ranga, and Wanai to relocate to Shia's flat, where Kinji explains his plan to reach the dungeon's bottom and arrive in Colonia before Belza so that he can steal their technology and take over the world before Belza. Kinji discovers that the dungeon has become significantly more dangerous. Shia decides to subject him to rigorous training, during which he discovers that living beings can absorb natural mana and convert it into magic to enhance physical abilities, something he is unable to do because he comes from a world without mana. Ranga is seen playing with a broken gun that Kinji has brought from the future. When Rim tries to eat it, however, the gun absorbs her mana and asks for a password to turn it on. By jokingly suggesting the commonly used keyboard password QWERTY, Kinji gets it right. Kinji returns everyone to the dungeon to catch up with Belza's adventurers, realizing he now has a powerful weapon to compensate for his physical weakness. Kinji uses the gun to kill several monsters, but the battery quickly runs out and the battery must be recharged by draining mana from the environment. Everyone was almost naked, thanks to the magical fibers woven into their clothing. Kinji threatens to get rid of the gun after being punished by Shia, only to discover the gun has a stalker girlfriend personality and is forced to keep it when it threatens to self-destruct and kill everyone if he tries to get rid of it. They join forces with other adventurers who have been stripped naked by Kinji's pistol. Zombies attack, and Kinji vanishes, leaving only his underwear as a trail. Rim follows the scent to a hidden room where the zombies are being used as slave labor to illegally brew potions. An enchanted poster of workplace rules kept me hypnotized. Ranga destroys the poster, restoring normalcy to the zombies. They track down Kinji and find him tormenting an undead mage, who explains that his reputation was ruined hundreds of years ago by a hero, so he was forced to work in dungeons until he died of exhaustion. He now lingers in the dungeon, brainwashing adventurers into working themselves to death as a form of vengeance. As adventurers are already working themselves to death, Kinji reveals Reisa's concept of corporate drones, causing the mage to pass to the afterlife. In the dungeon, Kinji meets Cindy, a young struggling shop manager, and strikes a deal with her. If he can fill her shop with paying customers, she will give him a huge discount on her best dungeon gear. Because the zombies' potions have no effect, Kinji promotes them as a pre-battle nutrient drink for a large profit, but they are quickly shut down by Reisa. Kinji and the others set off to the next level, confident that Cindy can now survive on her own. Rim fantasizes about a horned girl. Maintenance workers explain that the doors to the 5th and 3rd floors are both blocked, and Kinji saves them. As a result, they have been stranded on the 4th floor indefinitely. Belza's bodyguards, on the other hand, are now trapped on the 5th floor. The door to the 6th floor is guarded by only 2 powerful monsters. The Ant Queen arrives, having fled earthquakes with her colony, with the horned girl who turns out to be Majin. Majin was born after Rim left the dungeon to become its new guardian, but because she is ill, the dungeon has become more dangerous. Rim reacts in an unusual way by hunting food for Majin without eating any herself, but Majin retaliates violently, causing Rim to become upset. She tells Kinji that she feels bad about defeating Majin and making him too weak to manage the dungeon. While Rim looks after Majin, Kinji and the others restore the 4th floor's ecosystem through forestry and animal husbandry. Majin recovers after the 4th floor is restored to normal, and Rim gives him the name Sky. As the door to the 5th floor opens, Sky becomes seriously ill, and the 2 monsters multiply into dozens, overwhelming the bodyguards. While Rim defeats the monsters, Kinji manages to save the bodyguards. They arrive on floor 6, where Kinji reveals that he scouted ahead with his pistol and received information on a magical artifact that he now claims as his own, granting him the ability to command all dungeons. He confronts Belza with enough jewels from the dungeon to clear his debts that he quits his job, leading an army of monster guards above ground. Kinji has turned the dungeon into a theme park with Ranga as his assistant 3 months later, and he has begun purchasing other abandoned dungeons. He can manage the dungeon's magic without Rim or Majin, turning them back into profitable mines run by the Ant Queen. Thanks to his abilities, Shia embarks on a new career path. Kinji destroys Reisa's profits by flooding the market with cheap demonite and putting Cindy in charge of a magazine-based delivery service for adventuring equipment that is both cheaper and higher in quality than anything Reisa sells, thanks to Wanaibe's demonite research. He also abolishes discrimination against demi-humans by giving them the same rights as humans in the workplace. Belza becomes an alcoholic and is tormented by Ranga, who knows Belza's childhood history as a descendant. Belza devises a scheme to exact vengeance on Kinji by enlisting the help of Shia, with Belza manipulating Shia into testifying against him. Kinji is arrested for crimes he committed before becoming wealthy. Assumed to be a possible threat to humanity, Kinji is tortured in order to force him to confess, but he refuses. Shia pays him a visit and heals his wounds after discovering Belza's deception. Kinji, the Ant Queen recalls, wrote a manual for such a situation. Belza is promoted to director of Reisa a month later, but is taken aback when Kinji is abruptly released and promoted to CEO. According to Wanaibe, they purchased 40% of all Reisa stocks after following Kinji's instructions, and persuaded the owners of the remaining 15% to support them, giving them control of Reisa. Reisa is taken over by Kinji's company, where he forces Belza to work with Ranga in order to improve their family relationship. despite his victory, Kinji is dissatisfied. Ranga, concerned about Kinji's behavior, reveals that he is from Japan and may be planning a trip back. Kinji admits that chasing a goal made him happier than winning. Instead of returning to Japan, he intends to expand his business, take over dungeons in other countries, and so on until he has complete control of the world. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.